Once the PrintQuote Pro defaults have been set, we can move to the Finishing 1 tab to begin entering the finishing equipment. PrintQuote Pro uses a rather unique method of adding finishing equipment. You can add any piece of finishing equipment you wish. All finishing equipment can be added on the Finishing 1 and the Finishing 2 tabs of this dialog box. Once a piece of finishing equipment is added, it can be easily included in a quote by selecting it on the drop-down menu on the Finishing 1, Finishing 2 and Finishing 3 tabs of a quote or job. The Finishing 1 tab, Finishing by piece rate, Finishing 2 tab, Finishing by book rate, Finishing 3 tab, Finishing by area rate. Those quoted on a per piece basis are those on the left hand column of the Finishing 1 tab, and secondly those quoted on a per book basis are those in the right hand column of the Finishing 1 tab, and on the Finishing 2 tab we have equipment quoted on a per unit area basis. At the bottoms of all finishing items you have the facility to add, modify and delete finishing equipment items. The last item on the drop-down menu is Change Category Title, which enables you to rename the finishing equipment category for this particular drop-down menu. The first item, Add Item, is where finished equipment can be added. Here you can enter the process name, the base rate, the make ready, the rate per number of pieces, the running time for that number of pieces, and the make ready time, and also the facility to choose to use a minimum run, which would be the number of pieces you have in there. If you choose a category and then change your mind, you can click Reset or reset the category back to the category for that particular item. The base rate is the amount added to each item in the run, such as a wire hanger for a calendar, for example. The make ready is the cost of preparing the equipment for the run, and the rate is the cost of the running the quantity displayed in the per pieces field. The make ready time is the time to prepare the equipment, and the running time is the time it takes to run the per pieces quantity. So we enter the details, then once we've entered the details we click OK to save the item. To modify an existing finishing item, first we select the item and then we select Modify. On selecting Modify Item, you'll be presented with a dialog box with the current values of that item loaded. Here you can modify the process name, the base rate, the make ready, the rate per the number of pieces, the number of pieces in for that rate, the make ready time and the time it takes to run that number of pieces. And you can also change the category. Click OK once you've made your changes. To delete a finishing equipment item, first select an item you want to delete and then choose Delete Item, and you'll be asked to confirm the deletion. Click Yes to delete the item. You can also change the category title of an existing category. To do this, we choose Change Category Title. and a dialog will appear, and we can change the category, title, save it, and then the title changes. If you wish to use two different pieces of equipment in a job and they happen to be on the same drop-down menu, then you can move an item in one category to another category. First select the item and then select Modify Item. Then we can choose the category we wish to move this to and click OK. Now it's been removed and now it's been replaced on the other drop down menu. We can move it back the same way. To delete all the finishing equipment items in a category, we can click on the D button for delete. This will delete all the items in this particular category. We'll be asked to confirm the deletion and click Yes to delete all those items. The left-hand section of the Finishing 1 tab is for per piece finishing equipment. And there are 6 possibilities for finishing equipment that are quoted on a per piece basis. The first 5 have a base rate, a make ready, a rate per number of pieces, as well as use minimum rate, make ready time, and a running time for that number of pieces. Clicking on the category drop down menu, we'll see that any pieces on these 5 can be interchanged with each other. The last one, drilling, is a piece of equipment that's quoted on a per lift basis. And this type has a base rate, a make ready, a rate per lift, a minimum rate, and make ready time, and the time it takes to do the lift. The right hand column of the Finishing 1 tab is for per book finishing equipment, and these can be found on the Finishing 2 tab of a quote or job. The first finishing equipment drop down menu is used for equipment that is quoted on both a per book and a per page basis, and this is suitable for equipment similar to an Horizon Perfect binder or such equipment. First tab is for the per book details rates. So we have a base rate, a make ready, a rate per certain number of books, make ready time, and the time it takes, running rate, with also the option to use a minimum run. On the per page details, we have a make ready, a rate per number of pages, make ready time, and the time it takes for that number of pages. On the quote text tab, we can enter the text we want to appear in a quote whenever this equipment's used to finish the job. We can also add values from the record in that text if we wish. The second and third drop-down menus are for pieces of equipment that use one base rate and two make-readies and two per number book rates. So we have a per book details 1 and a per book details 2 with one base rate. And again, make-ready rate per number of books, the make-ready time and the time it takes to do that number of books. The second rate is a make-ready and a rate per number of books, the time it takes to do that number of books and a make-ready time, as well as a quote text. The fourth drop-down menu is for a piece of equipment that requires a base rate, a make-ready and a punching rate. And we'll notice here there's only one category that has that type. So we can't move this piece of equipment to other categories because it has a category of its own. And it also has a quote text section. The fifth and sixth drop-down menus have a single base rate single make-ready and a rate per number of books, make-ready time and the time it takes to do that number of books, and the use minimum run feature. So if a piece of equipment only has a single book rate, then either of these two can be used. Finishing 2 tab is used for the cost of equipment calculated on a per area basis. And once they've been entered here, they can be selected on the Finishing 3 tab of a quote or job. The per area items calculate the cost by first calculating the ratio of the sheet size with a square unit area of measure, and then using that amount calculate the actual cost per piece. For the metric system this is a square metre, and for the imperial system it's a square foot. On the Per Area Details tab, we can enter the process name, a base rate, a make-ready, a rate per unit area, a make-ready time, and the time it takes to print that area, as well as the quote text tab. And all 4 items on this tab have the same features. The program has some typical finishing processes already entered to demonstrate. You will need to delete those you do not require and to add prices to the processes that you do use. It just makes it a little easier for you to install your finishing equipment.